Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Thursday Facebook Live. This week we have the pre-Playa edition about Burning Man and business and how they're interconnected, whether you believe it or not. So, as some of you may know, because I talk about this publicly and all over my Facebook and in my emails, I am going to Burning Man and I am actually leaving tomorrow. So you can probably see that I'm very excited. But I actually just wanted to talk about what really goes on at Burning Man and how what you learn there and what you experience there for a week can actually apply to business and work and money and success and ultimately your whole entire life. So just really quickly, I'm sorry about the lighting here. I am at WeWork, my co-working space, and some of these floors are very dark because they think it's really cool, I guess. But anyways, I'm winging this, but I just want to discuss Burning Man, what goes on there. So for those of you who don't know, Burning Man is an annual festival that takes place in the Nevada desert every year in August and early September. And it starts this Saturday at midnight or Sunday morning. And basically what it is a massive festival with art and music and classes and interactivity and food and everything you ever wanted in one place. And there's 70,000 people that come, and they actually just build a city from scratch. And over the course of the week, you pretty much burn it down or remove it by the end of the week. And it's this amazing festival that has these principles. So it's all about, so the deal is you have to show up with your own water, your own food, all your own survival needs. There's nothing for sale there except ice and coffee and I think tea as well. So there's no money exchange. It's supposed to be anti-commodity, no commodification, no selling of anything. And the whole point is it's about this city that comes together and builds, what I would like to call a kind of a utopian type city. And it's this gifting and sharing economy. So, and there's these principles. I'm not going to go over them, but you can Google it. It's called 10 Principles of Burning Man. It's basically radical self-sufficiency, radical self-reliance, radical self-expression, radical inclusion, and so on. And the whole point is it's 70,000 people coming together to work together for a common good, which is pretty much joy. And that's it. Joy, and of course, helping each other out, making sure everybody survives and nothing goes wrong. But when you arrive there, my first year was 2013, and when you arrive, you're welcomed with a hug, a random stranger hugging you. So of course this totally threw me off, even though I'm very touchy-feely and very open. I love to be hugged, but I didn't understand, like, why is everybody so loving and amazing? But essentially what goes on at Burning Man is 70,000 people drop all of their guards for a week and stay in their heart space. So almost everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but a large majority of people there, they drop out of their mind, which is where most of us live during the day-to-day rat race that we all live in, and they drop into their heart. So up until recently, there was no cell phone service. There is no Wi-Fi. I hope not, please. And the whole point is you really go off the grid for a whole entire week. So everybody stays in their heart center. People are hugging. People are smiling. You meet people very easily. And whether you believe manifestation and what it's all about or not, let me tell you, the manifestation powers there are unheard of. Like, I'm pretty much a power manifester in my day-to-day life. I believe in all the universal laws, law of attraction, law of vibration. And if those of you haven't studied it, I can do that over another Facebook Live. But when you're at Burning Man, it's amplified. And my theory is, and my conclusion is, when you bring together such a large group of people, 70,000 people who are all dropping their egos, getting their mind out of the way, really just going with the flow, enjoying the moment. No one's really concerned about what they need to do, what time it is, where they need to be, what bills to pay, what phone calls to take, what Facebook Lives to do. Everything's just gone for a week. And people just ride around and enjoy life. They enjoy the art. They enjoy each other. They enjoy the music. And honestly, I will argue with people till the day I die about this, but Burning Man has been some of the most spiritually profound experiences I've ever had in my life. And I'm deeply spiritual. For those of you that don't know, I'm very deep into my practice. I have a lot of practices that I do, including, daily meditation and Buddhist practice. But what goes on in Burning Man is deeply spiritual. And I think, my theory is it's this group of people coming together and really living from that center of love. So now what does this have to do with business and money and success? So one thing I teach, and one thing I know to be an ultimate truth, is that what you do for work and business really needs to be centered in the heart space. Meaning you need to come from a deep sense of passion and joy and enthusiasm and really be inspired to do what you want to do for work in order to be successful. Every successful person I know, and when I say successful, this doesn't mean just making millions. It means being truly happy, being satisfied, being having impact on the world, really loving what you do for a living. And everybody I know that's done this and been successful in, the heart-based definition of success is really centered in their heart and not caught up in their head. Now, if you don't know what the difference is, for example, being caught up in your head is the lawyer who hates her job but feels like she can never leave it because she has bills to pay, even though she makes pretty good money and lives this lavish lifestyle of eating really nice dinners every night and going out, New York City and living in a really expensive apartment and just, living this illusion lifestyle of money, money, money. Although she's miserable all the time and needs to drink and spend money in order to feel happy. So you're caught in this cycle of, what I would call a downward spiral, which is, doing something you don't love, having to make money to keep up your lifestyle. And the whole reason you keep up your lifestyle is because you're not happy doing what you do most of the time. So we spend a huge amount of our life working for work and not just working working at home or working in the fields, but I mean working, to live as we think of it. So when you're stuck in that mind space of, well, I'm really unhappy and I hate what I do, and I've always dreamed of launching a jewelry business, but, I stay in my corporate law job because it pays me well, because I have this expensive rent, that is not success. I don't care how much money you're making, that is not the definition of success. Our point of living on this planet is not to make money and be unhappy and then die. Maybe for some people that's okay, but I don't know, it's not the kind of life I want or those around me have. And when you're centered in your heart, you live from a place of passion, a place of joy and constant inspiration and, really impacting others' lives and really doing something you've always wanted to do that you love, that your heart is truly desiring, which is actually the truth of who you are and what your essence is and what your desires are, versus the head that's telling you, oh my God, I have to do this because I need to survive and blah, 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 blah. It's two different ways of living. So this is one huge thing that you can start to wake up and realize when you go to something like Burning Man. Because, again, without sounding too esoteric, the way it works there and the way you just naturally meet the right people at the right times and everything appears, it needs to appear at the right time. It's literally like magic. I hate using that word, but it's true. It feels magical. I've had, and it's not just me, it's people that I know that aren't even spiritual, that don't even believe in this stuff. They agree that this happens there. There's even sayings that go along with Burning Man, like the playa will provide, meaning, don't worry, you'll survive, whatever you need will show up. People say you get the burn that you need. So some people go there and say, I know a guy who went every year and was like, I just want to hook up with girls. And he would never hook up with girls because his mind was really focused on hooking up with girls. But instead he was being taught other lessons, which is probably, why don't you let go of that and stop having attachment and actually just start living from joy, and therefore maybe you'll meet a woman that you really love or whatever it is. But the whole point is these terms that they use on the playa, which is the Burning Man, is kind of a nickname for the place where it's held. It's all about this difference in mind versus heart, in trying and pushing and struggling versus letting go and releasing and living just from following joy. This is another principle I talk about. to some of you, this might sound crazy, like, oh, Beth's saying I have to live with joy, but that's not reality because I need to pay the bills. But actually, if we take a step back and rethink the lives of humans and what we're doing here on this planet and what the whole point of life is, and you start to look at things from a bigger picture, you'll see that the whole point is to live from joy, to live from your heart, to live from passion, from following your desires, from sharing and giving. So this is another principle at Burning Man. It's this, they call it, I don't know, it's like radical, I forgot the actual term, but anyways, the whole point is this sharing economy, right? And it's this connected place where everybody really truly helps each other out. So the way this has helped me understand business and just life in general is you really start to see that competition is not the way for us to be working. Now, it's the old paradigm of how our work has been run and how our modern capitalistic industrial society has been run, which is we must compete with each other and fight against each other and see who wins, and whether that means, pushing people over and hurting people in the process, it doesn't matter. Well, you know what? That's not the way things are going, and that's not the right way to live. And, thankfully, a lot of companies and a lot of businesses are not doing business like this anymore. But the whole point is when you collaborate together in groups and really help each other out, like I do with other coaches who actually do the exact same thing as me. They're technically my competition, but we actually work together to help each other out, to lift each other up. And so all of us can grow together and help each other. This is the whole point of being an interconnected society. So we can actually partner together and learn how to do business together for a greater purpose, for the greater whole, and for the greater good of humanity, and not so much just for power and money, which is the old paradigm of doing business. So a lot of what's going on with Burning Man and the principles are thankfully being applied to a lot of businesses currently, and a lot of new ways of running businesses. And there's a lot of tech startups and a lot of progressive businesses being run in this way, which is more of a value-based, a value and heart-centered way of doing business and way of living, versus the opposite, which is our old paradigm of competing for power and money and just surviving and living this kind of tense, negative state. So I could talk for hours and hours about this. And actually, it's really funny. Before this, I knew I was just going to wing this Facebook Live like I always do every week. But I was curious to see if anybody had written about what you could learn at Burning Man for business. And it seems that there's an Inc. magazine article and an Entrepreneur magazine article about how a lot of entrepreneurs do go to Burning Man. And I know all of you have heard this in the news about all the wealthy entrepreneurs that spend millions at Burning Man. And yes, they're there, and some of them are my good friends. But honestly, there's a reason why. I mean, it's a really powerful place. It can teach you a lot. You meet the most incredible people there, which again is another principle that you can apply to business. It's all about the human connection. Remember, no one would make money and no one would do any business if we didn't have human connections. And this is one of the number one most important things to your business, to whatever work you're doing. I don't care what it is, but it's your community and the people and the human connection. So again, that's something that you can really experience at Burning Man, with how important human connection is, and interacting and really helping each other out and working from a place of collaboration over competition. So, and anyways, again, I could talk so much longer about this, but I really want to try to keep these Facebook Lives to no more than 15 minutes, because I know all of you are very busy, and I personally don't have time to watch these myself every week for over the 15 minutes. But although there is not supposed to be service at Burning Man, I heard a rumor that there is this year. I guess there was last year. I don't know. I didn't go. But I am possibly going to broadcast live next Thursday from the playa. I probably will not be discussing business because that doesn't feel right. I'm going to be there actually enjoying the festival, enjoying meeting people, and really doing my personal service, which is doing greater good for the good of humanity, and really connecting with the right people that I need to be meeting in order to grow and evolve as a human and help impact this earth. And it's not about business and it's not about money. It's about how do we evolve as a society as a whole. And that is my overall mission in life, and that's pretty much my mission for Burning Man, is to enjoy and be open to who I meet, whatever happens, and whatever is supposed to happen will for the highest good of all. And if any of you are going to be on the playa and are seeing this or listening to this, please reach out to me. My camp is having a huge party on Wednesday, and it's filled with amazing people that you should really meet. And then I'm also doing a talk on Tuesday afternoon at another camp and holding a ceremony on Thursday night. Please reach out to me if you want any more information. Otherwise, I will see you possibly next week from the playa, and if not, the following week from somewhere in New York. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and for those of you going to Burning Man, have a wonderful burn, and I'll see you on the playa. Bye.